I love media so much, and I try to like. I never feel like I can explain it properly. Mm. But you guys know how there's this thing that like life imitates art or art imitates life, depending on which way you believe it goes. Like, oh, it's so true. Visual media is so interesting because you see life like more so than you get to see it when you experience it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no other form of art where you are seeing things than visual media, which I know you're like, obviously, but like, there's no other form of art where you are seeing things happen and you are getting the emotional connection with that person through every sense except touch and smell. Because you're hearing it and you're seeing it and you're feeling all the pain that they went through. And you're growing in your empathy and understanding, and you take every bit of existence that that character went through and you can use that in your own life to grow in wisdom without having to feel any of that pain yourself. Does it always work like that? No, of course not. You know, I think pain is a necessary part of life. I think it's actually a guaranteed part of life. There is no individual, regardless of literally anything, race, gender, ethnic background. Oh, it's just different than race, but I feel like I don't need to explain that. That's what I'm looking for. Social class, anything like that that does not have their own understanding. Does that make sense? Are these earrings cute? I think they're cute. They're a little lady-esque, but in like a good way, like a cute way. I don't know. I'll put them on after. My best friend got me them. They're so cute. Little clip-on earrings because your girl's unpierced. But there's also like such a connection over visual art. Well, it's not really over visual art. The connection is over any kind of media. Like a person who, an author is going to have a connection to their characters, just like people who read that book is going to have a connection to their characters. And media in general is just so impressive and it's so cool. And I could never find the right words to explain why it's more than just like, you don't get it, it's cool, as you can tell. I can't explain it. And I wish I had the words to, but I don't. And it's kind of frustrating. Anyway, so I personally have always really liked art and stuff. Like, I'm not good at art, don't get me wrong. I'm not bad at it, but I'm not good at it. And one of the things that have always interested me, just a little bit, is writing. Because it's just impressive. I enjoy it. When I was younger, I wanted to write, like, as a profession, to be an author. And the older I got, the more I was like, I have the words and the ability to string those words together on written paper, but I don't even know the word. It's not the creativity, because I have the creativity to create a word. I don't have the creativity to fill the gaps in said world. You know? So, like, I can't do a fictional story. But I have no particular interest in creating a non-fictional story. Because it just feels... I don't know. I've literally never thought about that. That came out of my mouth, and I was like, I guess I don't have to. I could just write on the world today. But in some part of me is like, why would you write about the world today? The point of writing and reading is not to get away from the world today, but to have a break from it, you know? Anyway, so I have this concept that I want to start writing. It's just a political drama. And like everybody else, I think, who does any form of art, I base it off of key people in my life currently. I like the characters, you know? So, I have like 4 or 5 people that I consider regulars and an importance in my life. I've got my family, which is 2. My dad and my sister, right? And I've got my friends, which I've got, sometimes I feel concerned, like, I don't want to name drop friends, but at the same time, like, who in the world is going to see this? And I'm not saying anything negative about them, actually, I'm almost always praising them, but, I've got friends, 2 of them are in the same circle. I hang out with them so much. But because they're people, and because they're shifting and changing and growing, the same as I am, because nobody ever is exactly the same, and if they are, there's a problem happening. It's hard to be like, okay, I'm gonna write a character purely based off of them, because I'm not gonna finish this book realistically in the same time period that I start writing it. And I don't want to forever encapsulate? Get them stuck in the mentality that they are, like, in my brain. And if I'm writing this character loosely based off of them, and the character doesn't grow or change, because the character in a book stays pretty static. You have a growth chart for it, but it stays pretty static. Yeah, it just seems kind of lame. So I don't necessarily base characters off of the friends as much as I take qualities that that person has currently, and I use that to help the base of the character form. Like, for example, my papa, my father, my sweet Swayla boy. He is, first of all, gonna hate this makeup look because I'm using a lot of reds and pinks, and although he likes the color on me, he doesn't like makeup, like the kind of makeup that I like, because this color palette to me always makes it like I should do like a emo-esque look with saddy kind of vibes, you know. And he doesn't like seeing me sad. So I'm gonna go downstairs and I'm gonna go talk to him, and he's gonna be like, "Why are you crying? I love you." And I'm gonna be like, "I know, I love you too." Anyway, so the character that he's based off of, you know, you've got your father character to the main character, because I don't necessarily write self-interests or self-inserts. However, I think every author, every artist of any form, puts bits of themselves into every character that they create. And since I'm writing the story, it would make sense that the main female character would have attributes and understanding and character structures that's similar to what I have. So she's not like a self-insert. I'm not writing Malia, the girl in this world. But my father's character is going to be the father character to this character. And I think my father is a perfect example of a father. And so I have that attribute to build off of, where he is wise and caring and compassionate and wants only what's best for the main character. Even if the main character is sometimes like, dude, you just don't know what you're talking about. Because every child has that, like, you don't know what you're talking about anymore. There's that growth pattern that the girl can have with her father. But I want to use the father, because my father is such a person of wisdom and understanding, and it's hard to write that into a character without making the character seem uppity. I more so want to use the father as a lot of foreshadowing, but foreshadowing ways where you're like, I don't see that happening. And then you look back at the end of the book and you're like, man, basically everything this man said came about in ways that I didn't expect it to come about, you know? I'm sorry if I'm not explaining it correctly. Womp womp. But, so I take characters, like, key points about the people in my life, and I use them to form the base of a character. But I also like to use scriptural references for characters. So, like, my father, and I have said this ever since I was old enough to comprehend scripture and read it on my own, heavily reminds me of Paul from the Bible. The more that I do research on Paul, the more I'm like, I was right. Because, well, there's Paul, who, if you're not aware, he's a New Testament biblical identity character. I don't like saying character. I guess I could have said person, but identity just works better in this case. Who is late coming to Christ, missed basically all of Christ's life, and is a person who was in heavy prejudice, and then flipped his entire life around. For 3 years, did nothing but study. Came back, gave the best fighting arguments you've ever seen in your entire life to the disciples who were acting prideful and full of themselves. And then grew in power so much so that he was seen on the same level and is still currently seen as a higher level than any of the other disciples, even though he never met Jesus. And he wrote most of the New Testament letters. And if you're not aware of how the New Testament works, there's the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts. And then there are the letters and Revelation, basically. That's not the correct breakdown, but that's the way I'm going to explain it right now. The letters are most of the disciples and Paul writing to the different churches and the different groups of people and telling them, hey, these are things that you're doing wrong. Here, these are things that you are, because the Bible is as much a history book as it is a factual book, as it is a spiritual book. Because just like how God is several different things and 100% in all of them, 100% merciful, 100% graceful, 100% loving, he's also, like, his word, his book, does the same thing, where it is 100% a history book, where you look back and you see genealogies and family, and and you see the plagues of Egypt, and you can track things exactly how they went down in the Bible to the point, because that's what it was. It was a history book, as well as being a factual statement. And we can prove all of that because it has to be factual if it's an accurate history book. And it's also a spiritual book, which I feel like is obvious when I say Bible. You're not thinking like, is that fantasy creation? No, you're thinking like, okay, it's a spiritual book. I know what she's talking about. But the New Testament has letters, and Paul is the most aggressive in his letters. His letters are the most commonly talked about. And I think I've said it in my other videos before, but I'll reference Paul, and I'll try to say that I'm referencing him, but the one that I talked about most specifically recently was the idea that when Paul wrote, if you cannot focus on God, it is better to stay alone than in a relationship, because you can't keep someone above God, and if you're going to do that in your relationship, then don't be in a relationship. And people spin that out to mean like, not God doesn't have a plan for everybody to be with somebody else, even though I think that's a little bit ridiculous, because people were literally created to be with one another. Adam and Eve, that God saw how depressed and necessary companionship was in the Bible when he created Eve, and you see it in almost every single other book. For my personal favorite, and listen, this is my favorite book in the Bible at all, so like, you can do what you want, but I love Ecclesiastes. Literally is talking about a chord of 2 is stronger than a chord of 1, and a chord of 3 is more prevalent than a chord of 2. And then that's talking about people finding one another, and then the third chord would be God in that verse, or at least that's my understanding of it. Um, I don't remember how I got here, but I was talking about Paul. And I like to use scriptural characters to base more heavily in my character creation. Because unlike being a real person that I'm genuinely connected to, I can look at them and I can see their entire life sprawled out, the important bits at least. And you do see the rise and the fall of pride and arrogance, and you do see the dedication to intellect and wisdom that he procures when he takes those 3 years to learn. And you see how this is funny, how ruthlessness is mercy when it comes to Paul. And I say that's funny because if you watch Epic Saga, like I know my sister watches these and I feel like she's gonna chuckle at that. But sorry, I'm blind, so like working back here I physically can't see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of hoping the color looks decent and like it's spread nicely. But and I've always thought that Paul and my father were twin flames, you know? Because Paul is wise and understanding, and when he tells you to do something, there's always this, like, longing that he has that when he writes, you can tell that he's aggressive and he's passionate, and he wants this, not because he wants you to know that he's better than you, but because he wants what is best for you. Spectrum car pulled up. My father is the exact same way. At least with me, he is. And with all of my friends, he's always been the same. He's always been I sound aggressive, I look aggressive, it's because what I'm saying is important. And you need to understand that this is important. And, so that has always been my thing. And also, Paul has always had this, like, I don't understand how you guys could be so, I don't understand how you guys can claim to be Christian and be so perverse in everything that you're doing. How are you saying you're following Christ and sleeping with your mother-in-law? How are you saying you're following Christ and then hating one another? You know, he's always had this straight up faction of you doing wrong and you know it. My father has always kept that same respect with many of his children and most of my friends to be like, you know what you're doing is wrong. So stop being foolish. And the other character that he in this story is going to be like, this character is going to be kind of intertwined with is Mordecai, which I think is his name. Esther's uncle. The story of Esther, the woman who was a Jew, married the king, hid the fact that she was a Jew, and she married him. And they got married because he genuinely found her company pleasant. And then the Jews in the area started getting attacked by political figures, because of course they did. And Mordecai, her uncle, came to her and was like, you need to talk to the king about this and convince him to stop doing it. And she's like, if I do this and I reveal myself to be a Jew, he could kill me. And Mordecai goes, well, God put you here for a reason, and if you don't do it, people are going to die, and then somebody else is going to have to take your place and do this, because this very well could be the reason why you are here and you are being not foolish, but you are being ridiculous. And once again, same kind of vibe that my father has, this character of wisdom and strength and understanding in the masculine form that's not afraid to put the characters around them in their place because they are aware that the characters they're putting in their place know better. And also, I was just thinking about this earlier, all three of those characters that I have that my father is based around are the father character, the characters that I'm, you know what I'm saying. I don't know if I like my makeup, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, all of these characters have this all of them are men of wisdom and instruction, including my father, who have been put in a position where they cannot go and fix the problem themselves. Because if they had the ability to go and fix the problems themselves, the problems would not be fixed and they would likely be dead. Because they are too masculine in their problem solving. Because Paul, for most of his writing, for you guys who don't know, spent it in house arrest. He was arrested, and all of his letters, that's why he said so many letters, and in all of his letters there's this longing to go out and see the people that he needs to see face to face. But I genuinely think that if that were the case, like if Paul were to go out and see the people face to face, he would not be taken as seriously, and it would be a problem. And I think that there's a reason why he was put under house arrest, more so than just like, because it's a cool story, bro. Because God doesn't just create things to be like, yeah, wasn't that cool? I mean, he does, but you know what I'm saying. He doesn't create turmoil in people's life without having meaning behind it. And Mordecai, like Esther's uncle, was never allowed in, like on the grounds that the king lived on, because he wasn't royal and he was a Jew, and they weren't allowed on the royal grounds. So all of the information that he had was told through the gate, and I think that if Mordecai were allowed in, there's more than a likely chance that he would have been put to death, because he would have tried to go in and plead his case when it wasn't the time or place for that. And I think my father is the same way, because my father, due to current situations, is doesn't have the ability to go out and be a preacher or a pastor the way I think that he really wants to. And I think that's because he's supposed to be doing it online as opposed to in real life, which I think everyone in my family agrees with that my father is meant to be teaching, to be growing, to be helping other people. And just like Paul used letters to do that, I think my father is meant to be doing visual, like, teachings. However, we have not started doing that. But I genuinely believe that is what he is meant to be doing. Because I don't think you get wisdom and experience and knowledge just to let it sit and not prosper in other people's lives. But I came to that comprehension, and that was fun to know, to think about, to understand. I saw this girl on TikTok. She does, I'm really into Arcane right now, and she does this look on her inner eye, and I don't think I have, I definitely don't have the features to pull it off. She's got much more striking strength in her, like, she got sharper jawlines and sharper cheekbones and a harsher jawline, and I don't think I can pull. I don't think I pulled this off. I'm not. That ain't it, bucka. It almost sounded like I said, it almost sounded like I said baka when I meant to say brother. This is gonna be a problem. You're a real problem. Oh, that wasn't actually all that bad. pardon. Okay, yeah, that wasn't bad. But yeah, I don't remember how I got on this topic. It's just, that's a cool thing I want to do. Right. And whatnot. I've always kind of vibed with the shorter eyeliner. But I went so thick on that side. I feel like I gotta even it out, even though I think I prefer that one. Let me put my glasses on and really give it a gander. Yeah, I definitely prefer this look. However, I don't have a makeup wipe, so we're going thicker. This is like running out too. I need to get more. But it's like one of those silly, goofy, like luxury items. Those non-necessities, as you say. Oh my gosh, I was hanging out with one of my friends last night, and she's lovely. She's one of the sweetest, literally the most compassionate person I've ever met who was in a position of power at a workplace. She's an assistant manager, and the way that she talks about her associates and the way that she handles literally any issue I've ever seen her handle. And I've pretty much only hung out with her when she was like, I've never hung out with her while she was at work. All the time she's off or she's on vacation, and every time there's a problem, she's immediately like, I will drop everything I need to make sure that the people under me are well taken care of. I will. And then when she like tells me things, she's like, well, this is what I do. Like, she just told me last night that when there's a birthday, one of her associates has a birthday, she doesn't want to get them like cake or a donut or anything because they make cakes they've put the effort in, and it feels like a cheap shot to do that to them. So she goes to Floral and she gets them flowers or a potted plant and a card, and it's just things like that where it's like, oh my gosh, you're such a kind person, such a good woman, and that's how I know she's gonna be a good mom too. Is that if she's doing that level of nicety for people who just, I've met coworkers. I've existed in real life. I know that they can be annoying. I'm not saying she's ever complained about her coworkers. But what I'm saying is I know that there are coworkers that I know that most people do not like management and will show management that they don't like them. And if she's going to do that for these people, how much more is she going to be so amazing to her children? You know what I mean? And she doesn't have kids yet, but we've talked about it. Like, I know she wants them. And it's going to be so lovely. And it reminds me of this, I don't know, parable is the right one. The Bible statement, I think it's in Matthew. I just read it recently, actually, where it was like, which one of you, when your son asks for a stone, or when your son asks for bread, will give him a stone, and when your son asks for fish, would give him a serpent. And it's kind of crazy because there are people that I know and like that their parents would give them a stone, you know, would give them a serpent. And it's nice to be like, I know that whenever you have kids, like, there will never ever be a situation where you've purposely given them a stone instead of bread. And it's so lovely to be able to have that understanding of a friend, and to know that the love for the people that are around them are so deep that even it infects them even when they go to work. But last time I was over there, we were talking, and I was talking about how sometimes a whisk attachment will show up in my sink, but I don't have a whisk, So it's like, what did my sister use the whisk attachment for? Because it doesn't even have like a good gripper on it. You know, like the handle is only that big. So whatever she was whisking, she probably got it all over her hands. And it's like, what are you doing? And she was saying that, well, I said, and it's just funny because you get the whisk attachment, even though our whisk is broken. Like, we don't currently have a whisk. And I used to have a stand mixer, but it also would kaputz. And she was like, well, why didn't you throw out the whisk attachments then? Because what if we get a new whisk and it fits? And she goes, okay, but don't whisks normally come with the whisk attachment? Yeah, but it could fit, and I don't want to throw it away. And I came over today, or last night, and man, I'm struggling to get this eye done. We're pausing the story for a moment. Is that good enough? Probably. Anyway, I came over last night, and she was like, oh my gosh, I forgot. And she like pulls out this, like, obviously probably never used before wicks. Like, all of the attachments still in, like, she just pulled it out of a box, you know, but she didn't have the box. So I know that it was like fresh. And she was like, I have this. I have one of my own. I just have a stand mixer. I don't need 2 whisks. Or 2 hand mixers. There you go, Pookie. What, you listened to me? You listened to me and you've heard it and you remembered it, you thought about it, and then you went and you got it for me? Oh my gosh. Shut your mouth. Such a sweetheart. She is lovely. This is the vibe we're going for. This is the makeup look. Do I like it? No. Oh well. I'm not gonna take it off because I just put it on. Anyway. Yeah, I was hanging out with her last night, and every time we go to hang out, we would always do it under the guise of like, we're gonna go watch Supernatural. We hung out for 7 hours. Literally 7 hours yesterday. You know how many episodes of Supernatural we got through? 1. And whose fault was that? Mine. I refused to shut up, and then every time I was like, Pause it, I want to talk to you about something. And she's such a good sport. She's like, yeah, what's up? Oh, love her. But she's such a sweetheart. And she also got me cake. I guess technically she didn't get me cake, but I got to have some of the cake. That she had. Which was nice. Because I don't get to buy cake very often. Like, if I want cake, I make it. Because it's, again, one of those, like, added luxuries where it's like, Also, it's one of those things where I feel like I know $20, $30 for a non-necessity is, like, a lot. You know, I comprehend, I understand. I've been poor for a while, guys. I'm an ally. But when I get money, it'll be nice to have one of those, like, I can just have a cake just because I want to right now. I can just go to Publix or go to Walmart or go to not Wawa. Wawa doesn't sell a cake, I don't think. Or go to, you know, another store and just, I can get cake. I can just get cake. I can buy it and I can keep it in my fridge and I can eat it. And it'll have store frosting on it. And store frosting is like addictive. And I'll just be able to do that. And won't that be lovely? Because I feel like everybody wants cake, but everybody forgets that they can just buy it. They don't have to have an occasion. They can just have cake. I mean, that's one of those non-necessities that in my brain is sorely overlooked. Yeah, I love that girl. She's so sweet. But to continue, I hang out with her, and then I have my other girl coming over, and we're going to hang out because my sister goes back to college soon, and all of my friends adore my sister, which makes sense. She's amazing. So she's coming over again, and that's so nice because she's this friend. All of my friends are sweethearts, but she's a very sweet woman. I cannot wait for her to come over and hang out again. And I'm making turkey that day, on Wednesday. My sister is leaving me again because she hates me. I know she watches these. You hate me. I can feel it in my bones, my very spirit, my gut. The hate that you have for me. And I'm judging you for it. Anyway, I'm so happy that she gets to go back. Because she's got all these friends over there. And it is very nice for her to be able to do stuff like that. Oh, I feel like my brain shut off, like I don't have anything more to say. But I feel like I should be yapping still, you know? I'm not done with my makeup, but I still gotta keep yapping. Because that's really all I do. I turn this on, not really a single thought process in my noggin. And I just start yapping. And hoping for the best, you know? This is dangerous to do without a mirror. And then I don't edit any of these videos ever. I feel like the most that you'll ever see is if I pause my recording. But even then, it's just me pausing my recording. And I'm not actually editing anything. Because, I won't post anything if I have to edit. I've realized that. And also, whenever I edit, like the editing system I have is old. And it always makes my resolution go down, and I don't really know what that's about. But I love editing. It's just if I have to edit a video, I spend the entire time adding way too many edits because I enjoy being humorous. And that's really not the vibe that I'm having, because these are more like a whole point of why I'm recording these is because I want to be posting something so I can look back and listen to what I'm saying, but also because like there was a heavy time period where I just didn't have any friends or anything, and I just wanted the almost like the intimacy of just being able to listen to somebody else talk and it not be about anything serious or not be pre-written, and just to be able to say like, I'm not completely alone. I'm finally not alone. And I feel like if I edit it, it's gonna lose that like vibe that I'm trying to create, the atmosphere of it literally just being like you're on a phone call with a friend who doesn't shut up. You know, something you can put your phone down to and go and do the other things. And I'm not saying anything heavy or hard to understand or necessarily like important to hear. I'm just allowing conversation. Does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense. Which is why my channel is called A Video Call with Mia, because I am, of course, Mia, better known as Malia. Actually, I can't say that. I do think half of the people that I am friends with still call me Mia, which something I tried to phase out of when I got out of high school, because I love my name Malia. But then I reconnected with a bunch of people from high school, and now all of my friend group is from people that I like. They've sparred out. There are people that knew me in high school, and they're friends. And so most people still just call me Mia, which is fine, you know. Not that I dislike it, but yeah, I want to create that vibe. And also, I was told that like the way that I tell stories, the way that I talk, is interesting enough regardless of the importance of the words that I'm saying, that you could put down your phone and walk away. And you know who I have to thank for that? That girl I watched Supernatural with. Oh my gosh, she's a real one. Every time I come home from her place, my head is like 8 times bigger than it was before. I'm like the Grinch, but instead of my heart being that big, it's my head. She always gets me with that. And it's kind of like, obviously my family supports and loves and has always encouraged me. But it's different when it's a friend saying it, because she's only known me for like a year. And so when she says that, like, yeah, you were fun to listen to, there's a part of me that's like, well, she doesn't have to say that because she doesn't have to listen to me every day. Meanwhile, the people in my family do, because I live with them. You know? I really don't like this makeup look. Can I say that? I'm not vibing with it. Pardon. But yeah. I hope you had fun listening to me today. I don't have anything else important to say. Like I said previously, not that I had anything important to say in the first place. You are the worst kind of good, 'cause you're not even great. A Greek who reeks of self-righteousness, that's what I hate. Okay. Bye. Love you. Kisses. See you later.